Welcome to another video on data to decisions. In today's video, we'll be building a simple bar chart in Microsoft Excel. So let's take some sample data where I have the sales of each of these books. And I want to compare these sales by book in a chart visually. We can use a column chart approach, which is the one on the left here. And you can see that it doesn't look as nice as the chart on the right, which is a bar chart. And the column chart, you can think of them as vertical bars. So when the names of the categories or the x-axis labels becomes too long, then I would recommend you to use the bar chart, which is the one on the right. Whenever you have a lot of categories on the x-axis, the space you have for name of each of them. Another scenario where I would lean towards using a bar chart is when I'm building a dashboard where I have a lot of charts and tables in my dashboard, and I have like a horizontal space, uh, and a bar chart would fit better rather than a column chart, assuming both will give me the same information here, which is nothing but a metric by category. So it's going to give me the same information. Or lean towards a bar chart if the space I have within the whole dashboard is better suited for a horizontal bar chart rather than a vertical column chart. So mainly the main reason would be if you have the category names, as long as show here as the names of the books, then definitely lean towards using a bar chart. Now in this video, I'm going to start from scratch and build this bar chart that we see here in Microsoft Excel. Let's get started. So I have the same data set, which is nothing but the category column is a book. And then the sales in millions of units is the numeric measure. So I can select this, including the column header, go to insert, and then I'm going to choose the 2D bar, clustered bar, and it'll create a chart like this. Again, the color of this may change depending on the theme that you have. In my case, it appears as red. I can right click and then do format data series and go into the fill option. And now I can change the color of my bars. So I can change it to any of the colors I would like. So I'm just going to go ahead with this. So I can customize it according to my needs. And the next thing I'm going to do is to hit the plus, and you see that the chart title is added on. If you don't have it checked, then there is no title. Now I have a title and I can enter the sales title. Let's say leave it like this as the title. I can format the title too. So I can give a background fill. I can do a font color. So let's see, and then I can move it wherever I would like. So I'm going to move it right there. And then I can format this grid lines. This are the vertical lines that you see. I'm going to right click, format grid lines. I'm going to do a very thin line. There we go. And now you can also click on the chart, add the plus sign, and add the axis titles. And this gives you the option to enter what are we measuring here. So this is, I'm going to say millions of books sold. And then here I can do the axis to be book title. Again, the general recommendation would be if your chart title is communicating to the user what the data is, then you can skip the axis titles. In this case, I'm just putting it there so that we know how to modify it. But if I were to create it for any of my dashboards, if the title of the chart is communicating the x-axis and the y-axis, then I don't need to add them here, because if I remove these titles, I get more space for my chart. So make that choice based on the data that you're dealing with, based on the audience that you're presenting the data to. Now let's continue with the formatting. Let's see, for example, I can go and quickly add data labels, and I can click on the data label, and then I can go and reduce the font if I would like. And then you can also change the font color for your labels, something like that. So you can do that. And then we can also go back into the plus. You can see that you can add a legend, but we don't need a legend for a simple bar chart. Because there's only one series, there's no value added by adding a legend. So do not add the legend in this case. So now that we are done with the basic formatting there, we can also go and click on the chart and then go to the border. I'm going to do a solid border, this color, I'm going to do rounded corners. So it's going to look like this. Okay. And if you want a thicker border, then you can customize it from here. I'm going to change it to 1 point width. And this is how it will look. Now, for something that is very specific to the bar chart, you can right click on the axis and then click on Format Axis. Notice that even though my data starts with and then there were none, and then it ends with a tale of two cities, you actually on the chart, you start at the top, a tale of two cities. So it's basically in the opposite order of the data. So you can change it by clicking on this categories in reverse order. However, when you do that, the axis goes to the top. And so please keep that in mind if you want to do something like that. In my case, I'm just going to leave the default order that Excel gives me, and that works fine for me. Now, what I'm going to show you is also some other options that you have in terms of controlling the width or the gap between these horizontal bars. So when you click on the chart, and please remember that if you want to open the right side panel, if you don't have it, so let's say assume that it's closed now, and when you click on the chart and press Control 1, you will automatically see the side panel for formatting. Now, if you right click on the series itself and then say Format Data Series, you can do it that way. You can also go and directly select the series because we named it millions, because if you remember, the column header here is millions, so it applies that name to the series name. And so you can go to series millions, which automatically selects the horizontal bars. Now you can control the gap width. So you can see how it works. So when I make the gap width larger, which means the width, the gap between two bars become larger, which means the bars themselves become thinner. If you want the other way, so then go and reduce it. And now you start seeing that the bars are becoming wider and then the gaps are becoming narrower. So depending on how many elements you present on the data, please make the right choice. But you have control over that by simply right clicking and then doing Format Data Series. You can control the gap width. Okay, now this is how quickly you can do like this in Microsoft Excel. I do want to also show how you can create this from a blank data chart. So for example, now I'm going to create a 2D bar chart. You can see that there's absolutely nothing in there, right? So now right click, select data. The reason why I want to show this is because instead of Excel automatically creating the chart from the data, it's always helpful to know step by step how to create it. And this helps us understand how Excel is thinking about it as well. So I'm going to select, so go back here, add a series. Like I can give a name to the series. I'm going to give this name, and then I can choose the values. So I can choose the values. And then in the horizontal category axis, you will choose these names of the books. There we go. So now you have created the exact same chart that Excel automatically built. The nice thing about knowing this approach is now you can go and select data. You can edit it easily. You can also add more series, which we will do in the next video. But essentially, you have more control over choosing the x-axis and the y-axis. So this is how you would do it. So hopefully that's helpful. In the next video, we will build a bar chart with multiple series and how you can customize it. Thank you so much for watching.